What's going on, everybody? How are you fantastically beautiful people doing out there in internet land? Hey, Andre. Welcome to the chat. Glad to see you. Nope, that's a bear. Tonight we are painting some Kuo-toa. Kuo-toa are goofy boys. Let me swap over here real quick. Let's pull up a reference image that is not a bear. Let's go. Let's see here. Kuo-toa 5e. Images. Here's one. There's the one that I was using. Grab that link. Let's see, reference URL. See if that works. Nope, that's Link and Zelda. There's our Kuo-toa. So these are goopy, gobby, crazy little fish people. There we go. Stop moving you. Hey, what's going on, Chris? Welcome to the stream. Yep, we're doing crazy Kuatoa tonight. These little silly boys. Let you turn your sound on. I will allow it. You may turn your sound on. Tonight we're listening to Stream Beats. I've really been liking these guys. They have one of the most accommodating music licenses. They're like, use it for whatever. Commercial, non-commercial, anything. They're like, if you download the MP3 and play it from your computer or stream it, whatever. Just use it for whatever. And they have tons of albums. They're like, I don't know, they have like 15 albums. It's pretty great. How are my audio levels, guys? Is the music louder than my voice? Is the music too quiet? Well, the song just changed, so it might be way too quiet now. Cool. So yes, we are doing Kuatoa tonight. I'm picking these guys back up. I started painting them a long time ago. Let me get the zoom camera in on here. We're gonna go black for a second. Nope, that's just gonna crash the app. That's awesome. That's me. There's the zoom camera. This is real professional stuff here. There we go, that's better. I think that'll be better for tonight. So I got a bunch of these little guys. We've got these little dudes with swords and shields. And I started base coating just their skin, and a couple other things. I think I just did their skin in brown. These dudes here just have like the derpiest faces ever. And then these ones are a bit more lizard-like. But I really like how boggly their eyes are. And then last but not least, we have this little guy here. This is a priest Kuatoa with their little goddess carved to the top of his sphere. Can't remember the name. It's something crazy like Cool Gloop de Bloop. Really? Because it's like I guess that's white. But like there's no paint on any of the metal. Their clothes aren't anything, and there's like literally no details on like their eyes and stuff. They'll look better. Take a screenshot. So we'll do, let's see, we'll do him. Actually, let's do some similar ones. Do these two guys. 3 colors and bam. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Kind of want him. He's just got a satchel. We'll do him for like an NPC. And actually, I think we'll start off with him. And good gracious, I've got 10 of these guys. That's... No wonder I haven't finished painting these guys. Alright, so let's get a paintbrush out of the way. I've been using this guy. Actually, I've been using this guy lately. Keep him out. And we'll scooch the palette over just a little bit. I don't know, you guys, are you guys more interested in looking at the palette or looking at the creature? See, because this looks a lot better to me. So they are. The question is are these monsters? That's an interesting question, not to be pretentious or anything. Because when in the monster manual, it's either in the monster manual or the Dungeon Master's Guide, they make a distinction that pretty much anything that is living that isn't a player character is a monster. So like even if there's I'm trying to think of an example, but even if you were to have a monster, like a stat block in the monster manual for a commoner, technically they're considered a monster, even though they aren't monstrous. So it's a bit weird, but they I think that they're a playable race. I don't remember. So, but technically they are a monster, even though they're like a civilization. So I'm going to do some modeling on this guy. I'm going to get some of this off-white that I have. We're going to thin it down a fuzz. And the idea that I was originally working on with these guys was to kind of give them like a white belly. So yeah, they're monsters in the fact that they are, you know, you can fight them. They can be evil and stuff. But, you know, you could also play Kuatoa or meet good Kuatoa or peaceful Kuatoa. They're just they're very weird. They're primarily found in the Underdark, which is like the deep down. But I think they can also be found in like deep underwater too. But they're very unique in that they have a very odd power. Um, hey, F-Skater! Welcome to the stream. We are painting Kuatoa tonight and talking about how silly they are. So Kuatoa, they are, like, I don't know an incredibly much about them, but I do know that they are one of the races that the Mind Flayers just jacked up. They just royally jacked up. The Mind Flayers came to the material plane and just like started psychological, or it's like psychically, not psychologically, but psychically manipulating and distorting and messing up people and making them like their slave races. And so that's what happened to the Dwagar. You know, they took some dwarves and messed with them. And that's what happened to the Surf Niblin with when they messed with the gnomes. And then they also messed with these Kuo-toa. Yeah, there we go. And so the Kuatoa have a very interesting ability, I guess you could call it. His belly is not exposed, so we'll not do him. Neither is his. His belly is exposed. Where they can, like, whatever they choose to believe as their god actually becomes a god. Like they can manifest gods with their beliefs, and if they all believe strong enough, then that thing that they believe in becomes a god, and it can actually be quite terrifying. Their current official deity, Shmer Bloop de Bloop Bloop Gloop, or whatever it is. Hey Chris, do you think you could look up the Kuatoa's god? Because like the name of the pronunciation, it's like Glual Bloop Bloop or something like that. And what it was is it was a statue of a woman, and somebody, I don't know if it was like a prank or something, but somebody had like replaced its hands with lobster claws and its head with like either a lobster head or like a, what's it called? Like a crawdad head. And some Kuatoa saw it and were like, holy cow, this is something amazing. And so they started worshipping it. And now there's this big, massive god that looks like that. And, yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like, they could, if they really started believing that a piece of toast was an all-powerful deity, or even a quasi-powerful deity. Yeah, I know, right? If you're able to play that, that would be quite the thing. But that doesn't mean that you control the god. They just kind of manifest it as a god. And so then they're like beholden to the god that they believed in. And it's not like they might not even like realize that they have this power, because they're just like, their minds are just all wacky jacky. So anyway, they're fun, they're silly, they're insane. Yeah, there it is. Blib dual ploop. Blib dual ploop. It's so silly. I'm curious if they are a race. Let me see. Kuo-toa. Yeah. It's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. That's interesting. No. I mean, it's showing up as a race, but It's probably one of those weird races where it's like it's used to like build out an NPC rather than a player to play them. But yeah, they have sunlight sensitivity, so they're like, you know, they like dark places. They're from the Underdark, so that makes sense. They're also slippery, so like they have advantage on getting out of grapple checks. Just old slippery, slimy, crazy, wheezy fish people. I want to say that the only reason that I printed these, well, because they're in the monster manual, but I believe it was you, Chris, that you were like, hey, I need some minis to paint, and I was like, hey, I'll print you some Kuatoa, and I just doubled it up, and since I already had the model, the minis, like, ready to go, I just painted some myself, or printed some for myself as well. And they've been sitting up here staring at me for like probably over a year now. And there's so many, just because there's so many of them. I printed like 10 of these things. I need some more paint. Oh, that's how they were able to escape the mind flayers? That's interesting. Well, the good old mind flayers technique backfired on them then, I guess. That's funny. I need one of those little vortex vibrator paint mixers. It's like, it looks like a little, it's like a little vibration paint mixer. It like looks like a little mushroom tab, and you stick it on top and it goes bzzz. Hey Josh, welcome to the stream. Thanks for lurking. We're painting Kuatoa tonight, and boy howdy do we have a long list. There we go. Thought I was gonna have enough to get these guys, but apparently not. Yeah, that's a good consistency. Ooh, it's 80s driving music time. That's actually not very thin. I should probably make it even. So I think my plan for these guys is to leave their skin the way it is. I'll probably put a little bit of a wash on it just to pull out some of the wrinkles. Yeah. And then I was going to do some detail. I wanted to do like some spots on them. Oh, yeah, sure, Josh. So you kind of missed it. We had already kind of talked a little bit about them, but like their big defining characteristic is that whatever they believe in strongly enough becomes a god. Like if they believe something to be a deity, then that thing just becomes a deity and it becomes what they believe. That's kind of like the big thing. Alright, let's get their eyeballs. I'm thinking about painting kooky, weird, like just looking off to the side pupils on these guys. Andre, I hope you and your family are doing okay. I heard you guys weren't feeling so well. Yeah, there we go. That's him. So I was planning to do I was thinking a little while ago that my Thursday game may head towards the Underdark. And it ended up not. It ended up veering towards the Feywild, which is a story in and of itself. But I had some plans to introduce an NPC who was a Kuo-toa. And he was going to be like this insane guy who was kind and helpful and everything, but just like really crazy. Just really wacky, and I forgot his teeth. You know, kind of like the crazy old man that you try to, that like knows the information you need, but you kind of have to like answer his riddles and stuff to like get it out of him because. Hey, Brad. Because you have to like, you know, he's all weird and crazy. But alas, I never got to use him. I'll have to save him for a future date. There we go. That's 2. I think emojis still show up on stream. I was having a little issue with that little web plugin working the other day, so I hope it still works. So I'm actually running out of, not running out of minis to paint, like I have a bunch of minis in my queue, but I'm finding that a lot of my minis that I have, like a lot of my gray minis over here, are like heroes and NPCs and stuff, and actually aren't monsters. So I would be interested if you guys have ideas for what I should paint next. What's the mini made out of? So I 3D print these out of resin. I use a Anycubic. Anycubic? Pretty sure it's Anycubic's resin. Hematicians. Hello, I'm Korg. I made a rock. Obviously perishable rock. Yeah, need models. Need models for that, and I don't do sculpting. Unfortunately, sculpting is something that I wish I'd have gotten into. But it is not my wheelhouse. So the ones that I have on the list, I have a couple guard drakes. And these ones, I'm thinking I'm at least going to paint, like prime them black and get them on a base so that they're usable, because my players have run into them lately. So I got a couple of these. As far as monsters on the monster list, alphabetically, I've got a, I forget which ones this one's called. Dinosaur. Something Saurus. I have an adult Remoraz that has been intimidating me and staring me at the face for over a year that I need to paint. I've also got a... forget what these guys are called. Dang it, what are they called? It's like a dark something? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I painted him. But like, and I got a couple devils and, you know, just like some odd random things, but it looks like a squid. But they're like lighter than air. They like hang up on like the ceilings of caves and they drop down and suffocate you and stuff. Dark Mantle? Is that what it's called? Let me see if there's Dark Mantle. It is a Dark Mantle. Yeah, it's called a Dark Mantle. I had one guy on Twitter say I should print a Kraken. Which, you know, it's on the list. It's also gargantuan. And that's just a big undertaking right now. Thought about assembling a dragon. A Kraken? It's like a big sea monster. Like think a giant squid with more of a body, you know, not just a head and tentacles. But they're one of the few gargantuan creatures. You know, actually with this guy, I think I'm going to go a little different with him. I'm going to follow a bit more on that reference image. No, because his tusks or his fangs are already there. I don't want these two colors to meld. I was going to bring it like up over his bottom, the bottom of his jaw, but once it hits his tusks, it'll be the same, or his fangs, it'll be the same color. There's a few really, really large monsters in D&D that are classified as gargantuan. There's only a couple of them. One is the dragon turtle, which is just a massive island of a turtle. Another, like the most popular one, is the Tarrasque, which is just like a big Godzilla-looking creature. Another is the Kraken. Oops. That is bleeding onto his skin. There we go. There's also the Roc, R-O-C, which is a huge bird. Well, it's a gargantuan bird. And I kind of go back and forth on like printing those. Like I think I'd like to have a Tarrasque. When creatures get gargantuan, it's almost better, in my opinion, to roleplay them as like a set piece rather than a creature to interact with. You know, otherwise you got little minis on the table, and then you pull out a 3-foot long bird, and you're like, well, you guys wanted to go and steal eggs from its nest. Here it is. I haven't done a big dragon yet. I kind of want to do a big dragon. Now, I'll tell you what I do have plans, or what is pretty high priority on my list, and I'm probably going to do this Tuesday, or at least start on it Tuesday, is a hot air balloon. And the reason why is because my Thursday game, the party just decided to construct a hot air balloon for navigating over the miasma that's currently plaguing the Feywild. And knowing them, they're going to fall in love with it. And they're going to want to take it with them wherever they want, or wherever they go. And it's just gonna become a thing. And so it'd be good if I made a big hot air balloon for them to ride around in and to have encounters on. All right, I think next we're going to do. Let's see, they all have this like rope over their shoulder, and I think I'm going to do that in leather. Let's do something for these little rags they're wearing. What if we do... It's going to be like a gross brown, so... Cygor, maybe? Yeah. Snakebite. I think I'm going to go with Cygor Brown. But Cygor Brown, well, actually Cygor Brown does cover pretty well. Yeah, we'll go with Cygor Brown. We'll try it on one of them, and if we don't like it, we'll go to something else. So anyway, I was looking around for a model for my, to print off for like an airship or like a hot air balloon. Come to find out, there really aren't very many online. I don't think. Let me see. No, it's. Oh wait, that's a dark mantle. Kuo-toa, are they evil? They are neutral evil. At least the monster stat blocks are. My party is evil for making an air, like a hot air balloon though. Like that's a de facto right there. Anyway, so what I was thinking of doing is blowing up a balloon and doing some paper mache and just like straight up crafting a balloon, and then maybe 3D printing or maybe crafting like a little basket for the minis to be in. Well, this is just destroying my zenithal highlight. But I suppose that's okay. There we go. Yeah, I think it's going to be cool because they're going to be sourcing it from like materials in the Feywild, and like it's going to be kind of like a hobbly nobbly crafted together themselves sort of thing. They have they're enlisting the help of a Loxodon druid who used to be like a tinkerer in the past, and so he'll be helping them put it together and stuff. But it is going to be like, you know, sourced out of like local materials and stuff. I wonder if there's any wisdom in letting them play the game and like design it and come up with it and then me make it, rather than me just saying, hey, this is what you guys made. That way, if they're like, you know, we made the skin out of the mushrooms, we cut the skin off the mushrooms and used that for the balloon, then I could be like, oh, so I'll paint it like that, rather than me just like painting it out of canvas or something. What do you think, Chris? Which way would you prefer? You're gonna be you're one of the players that's involved in this madness. Either way, I think it'll be a fun project. I kind of have a basic design in my head already, but I've never done something like this before, so it's really just going to be kind of a feeling it out. There we go. Here's one. Oh, how's your magic game going? I knew you said you were kind of getting into that. I'm going to be playing some tonight. I was talking about the hot air balloon and how I'm thinking of crafting it. But I was curious if maybe I should wait to make it until after you guys have like role played out actually building it, so I can make it like what you guys say it wants to be, or say what you want it to be. I think I'm probably going to dry brush this guy's tunic burlap sack thing with a little bit of like tan or something. Definitely going to need some highlights. All right. I need to grab water. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, so the question is like, should I let you guys, would it be better to let you guys like figure out what you want and talk through building it, and then I end up having to make it in accordance to that, or should I kind of guess based on materials available and make it ahead of time? That way it's like right there to use during that game. Alright, let's get some leather on here. Leather brown. twisted rope texture can be a little weird to paint along because it'll like try to guide your brush tip off of the path that you're trying to paint. It's always handy to have a number of browns. Everything that's brown on your mini doesn't look the same. It's not the same color. There we go. See, that's looking a lot better. Man, getting these guys done and knocking 10 minis off my list, that'd be a big jump up. There we go. Nice. I think for the metal, I'm going to do black with a dry brushed gunmetal gray. I've tried that so far a couple times, and I really like how it makes it look like cast iron almost. It makes it look like really cheap, or like really mass produced. And that's definitely the kind of technology that these little goobers would have. Because they kind of just cobble together whatever they find lying around. They don't really... They're not a very advanced... they're not a very advanced civilization. Hey, welcome back, Chris. So that's a good question. They do kind of look like they might be made out of chipped obsidian or something like that. I was just going to paint them metal, but that's an interesting idea. I think the sword here is definitely made out of a metal of some kind. Actually, it almost looks like it's made out of like tin or like copper or something. But that spear definitely looked like it could have been chipped from something. Night, Brad. What time is it? 10 o'clock? I'm going to do these little cloth wraps in this leather as well. So I think I'm going to stick with my original plan of painting them black and then making them metal. I like the idea of it being like a chipped stone or coral of some kind, but I haven't really thought out a painting strategy for that yet. And I think I'd like to just get these guys finished tonight. Oh yeah, always going to wash them. Especially with as flat as their colors are looking right now. They definitely need a wash. Yeah, so the Ninja Turtle green, that was actually intentional. I used to have a bunch of Ninja Turtle action figures when I was younger, and I looked them up online and used that as like a reference for these colors when I picked them out. I was like, this one needs to be green. This one needs to be like a yellowy green. This one needs to be like a deep bluish green. That's funny that you picked that out, Chris, because that was totally my inspiration. I'm getting massive Animal Crossing vibes off of this song. Alright, we'll let those guys dry. So what kind of wash do we want to put in these boys? Got a blue wash. Got some Drakenhof Nightshade. I've got some Beeltan Green. I think that's the only blue I have. Yeah, that's just Nuln Oil. Drakenhof Nightshade is actually a very... it's a very potent, very dark blue. What's up, Chris? What you calling me Washburn for? You just like saying my name? What kind of wash? Boy, you crazy. Although, maybe starting my own wash company in the future called Washburn Washes would be a thing. Or maybe I should just stick to painting and call it Washed Minis. All right. Pre-painted and washed. Yep. All right, let's do some Drakenhof. Let's do it on this guy first. And I'm gonna water this down just a little bit. It can be a little tricky to water down washes, so I like to pre-dip a little bit. That's too much. Pre-dip just a little bit of water, and then kind of mix it around up here in the little top of the cup. That's normally enough. And I'm trying to put it on a little thick because I kind of want to go for like a mottled skin. Normally you don't want that effect when you put, you know, by putting on too much wash. But for these guys, I actually do. If I end up going over their eyes or the teeth a little bit, I'm gonna be smoothing that out a bit more anyway with you know, a little bit more paint after the fact, so it's okay. Yeah. Sure makes a big difference. Actually, it looks like he might need a little bit more back on his shoulder blades. Nice. Yeah, so normally you want just a nice even coat along the surface and then a little bit, darker in the recesses. Otherwise it'll look splotchy and mottled. But this is like I want it to look splotchy and mottled on this. That does mean it's going to take longer to dry though, which is a thing to keep in mind, that I need to keep in mind. We got Stranger Things with Eagles on our music right now. I do like the crunchy synth though. I'm a big fan of that sound. These guys' skin, they're like so muscular, and their skin is like so rubbery and tight. It makes all these little crevices. You know what, this guy, I'm just going to go over his eyes. I'm going to give that a try. See if that deep shadow that it gives looks nice. And I'll just come back and sweeten up the color with a little bit of white. Hey, welcome back, Red. So what would be a cool idea for a Kuatoa god? Oh man, I was worried that covering them both in Drakenhof Nightshade would make them look similar. Or too similar in color. It's subtle, but I like it. Alright, let's try some Bealtan Grain. Gray. Grain? Gray. Green. Gray? What in the world is my brain? Bealtan Green. And let's try it on the Nakey Boy first. Now I have pretty good success out of Bealtan Green. There are a few times where this one has not like worked out for me. It's a bit more of a blue green, but you want a bluish green for your shadows. Even if your green is a very warm green like this one, this is a very yellowish green. And I think that's what kind of helps it work so well. The melody in this song sounds so incredibly familiar, like they're riffing off of something else. This might be a really obscure reference, and only a few of you may know what I'm talking about, but it kind of sounds like that really emotional scene in Ferris Bueller where they're like in the art museum. Oh yeah, putting this green on the shield. So I have actually in the past mixed like different colors where I'll put like a I'll put like a colored wash, like a blue wash or something like that on top of a red to give it like a bit of a purple hue. So it's actually not a bad idea. We can give it a try. Almost looks like there's moss growing inside of it. I think I'm probably going to hit it with like a brown wash on top of it as well, just because it needs to be darkened down a little bit. But I like that. Yeah, it does. Looks rustic and weathered. And again, normally I don't put this much wash on something's skin, but I really like the way it's turning out. There we go. Man, that looks really cool. So what if a bunch of Kuatoa are living underwater and there's this big boat that like keeps like going back and forth across the surface, and so they start worshiping this big boat as like their surface protector. Yeah, boat god. Bodie McBoatface. Like, what would happen to the crew of that boat? You know, interestingly enough, I wonder what would be the in-game ramifications of like rolling really good charisma persuasion checks and persuading a Kuatoa by using your magic that you are a god, and tricking them into worshipping you and treating you as a deity. and then like using that to actually become a deity. Rule of Cool says yes. I mean, I think the Rule of Cool always says yes. That's why it's the Rule of Cool. Yeah, like I held off on the other one, like on that one, and then tried it on the other eyes, and I just liked it so much I'm doing it on all of the eyes. It looks really good on them. So what we can do is we can come back actually with some dead white. This will make it really, really stark. It'll really draw attention to. So that's what it looked like before. That's what it looks like sweetened up. Actually, I don't want to use the dead white for their teeth. I'm going to use this off-white again. Nice. Now, for just a fun little fuzz of a comparison, here's more or less what they looked like beforehand. And here's what they look like now. Trying something a little different with him. I did like a vertical white slice. Not quite what I was intending, but it was okay. I'm okay for there to be like a bunch of variation between them. See you later, Brad. You taking off too, Andre? Or is that bye towards Brad? Ah, cool. Word. I've got about half an hour left in the show. I hope that I can get at least these 5 guys done. it's kind of out of focus. There we go. There we go. All right, let's give him some eyeballs. Now this guy, I want this guy to have some intelligence, because I want to have at least one NPC that looks trustworthy, that I can use to like work with the party. So we're gonna put his pupils kind of front facing. There we go. See, now he looks like he's like looking at you. He looks like he's got some intelligence to him. That's actually a little bit of a trick. If you can get the pupils to touch the edge of the eye and to look like they're focusing on something, it makes them look like they're looking with purpose, and that humans recognize that as intelligence. Alright, got a little bit of time left. Let's hit these fangs on all of them real quick. Sweeten those up a bit. Alright, what else do we have? What else we gotta do on these guys? We gotta do the metal. Let's get out some Agrex Earthshade and some Seraphim Sepia. We'll do the Sepia first, and let's just hit their bellies to kind of turn that white into a little bit of a creamy texture. I like it. And off-white with Seraphim Sepia, it's a really good combination. Just smooths it out and warms it up a little bit. Kind of gives it that toad belly look, which is what I was kind of going for. Whoa, dang. Professional. Okay. Now we're going to hit all the wood really quick with this Agrex Earthshade. I got 22 minutes. Agrex Earthshade's a pretty good brown wash, but it's very dark. So it's good for making, see, like right there, I hit that and now there's like a very distinct line. It doesn't necessarily darken the like the paint itself very much, but it gives very stark contrast lines all along the edges that it hits, which is nice. So you can put it on very thin and still get like really good shadows, but it's just like you have to make sure that you understand that it's going to be like very hard lines. And I got it on there, so I'm just going to spread it all over, even it out. See, it's not going to be thick enough to counteract the green, and actually the green is going to be very subtle now, but it's going to give very hard lines to those crevices in the wood. Thank you for that recommendation, Andre. I think that worked out very well on those shields. I'm getting a little sloppy here because I'm moving fast. But they're just crazy old Kuatoa. If they look all messy and everything, that's because they're supposed to be all crazy. How's the stream's frame rate been tonight? Like, has it been stuttering a bunch? I've been working on that, and I'm not sure why it's been stuttering in the past. I'm curious if it's been better tonight. I can't tell if it's my internet or if it's like my computer's being overloaded. That's good. That makes me think that it's more the internet's problem than my computer. Which, I'm trying to get better internet. There's supposed to be fiber coming out in my area soon. Like within the next couple months, but it's a little ways away. Alright, well, while these guys dry, there is a couple little finishing touches I'd like to put on them. But while they're drying, I'm going to go ahead and paint up the base. Just give it a quick little one coat. I'll probably come back and put the final coat on it later. So I had an idea that kind of spurred out of an accident, and it actually happened to this mini right here. When I was putting on the Drakenhof blue, you can see right there, I tapped it a little bit, right there at the tip of my brush. Tapped it just a little bit on his tummy, and it kind of made like a little dot, but it was kind of translucent. It wasn't super, you know, stark blue, and I kind of like the way it looks. It kind of looks like, you know, spotted skin. So I thought about maybe pulling out the Drakenhof blue a little bit and kind of like speckling a little pattern along the edge. Kind of along the edge there, kind of just make it a little speckly to kind of break it up a bit. I've never seen paint do that before. It's like it's not sticking and it's just like separating from the surface. I don't know what that's from or what's causing that. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, it's the same bottle that I've been using for a while, so I guess it's kind of old, but it's like I just used it for the eyes, and I didn't have any problem with the eyes. I wonder if, like, these minis have been sitting out for a while. I wonder if, like, something got onto the top of them, like maybe something that I airbrushed landed on them, or maybe it's like dust on the base or something like that. He did 120 zombies in 24 hours. How many would that be per hour? Would that be like... Let's see, 24 hour... I'll just do the math. 120 divided by 24. 5 an hour. Oof. That's... $12 minutes. That would be one every 12 minutes. And you definitely need to streamline that, like get a workflow to be able to do something like that. I'd probably be using a lot of airbrush. How much time we have left? We got 12 minutes. Hey, speaking of 12 minutes. Alright, let's try this Drakenhof thing, because I think it's going to turn out good. That's pretty fast, man. The real question is, what's he gonna do with 120 zombies? Yeah, I think that's turning out pretty cool. Yeah, no links, unfortunately. I've had a bunch of dumb bots on here trying to promote stuff. Alright, I think the next priority is to get this metal on here. And then if I can get some metal done and really quick, we'll do some edge highlighting on them. It's a pretty sad hot dog, Leah Bean. Oh no, they're not showing up on the stream. Let me refresh it real quick. Try it again. Try another remote. See if it shows up. Ah, there they are. Trying to get some edge highlight brown in here. Actually, those look pretty stinking well highlighted already. Aside from the shield. Now y'all are just being silly. All right, well, I think we are done. One thing I would normally do is come back and do some highlights on their skin. But since I custom made these paints like a long time ago, I don't know what colors they are, and so I'd have to like remix up a whole bunch of stuff. But man, they look really good, guys. Look at that. Watching me was your highlight. You're too kind. But we went from these guys to these guys. Well, thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. I super appreciate all of you for being here. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you enjoyed watching some stuff get painted. I'm probably not going to finish the rest of the Kuatoa on Tuesday's stream. I'm either going to pick up another monster, or I'm probably going to end up working on that hot air balloon. So if you're curious about the hot air balloon, actually I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and work on the hot air balloon on Tuesday. So if you're interested in the hot air balloon, come over on Tuesday and check it out. Let's see, is there anybody we can raid tonight? The Arcane Arcade is streaming right now. Let me check on them real quick. The Arcane Arcade, what are they doing tonight? Raid Shadow Legends. Let's wait for the ad to finish. I believe they're a D&D, yeah, live D&D let's play. Oh, this is XP to level 3. Yeah, let's send you guys over there if you guys are interested. Y'all make sure to tell them I said hi. And thanks again so much for watching tonight, everybody. Y'all be good.
All right, Lazarus, it's your turn. What do you do? As you start to move, she takes the cauldron and she says, and she kind of rolls it onto the ground. She says, "Take it."
Okay. I'll try and put it on his back.
Lazarus's back.
Yeah, you put it on Lazarus's back.
Come on. We're getting out of here. Okay. Is that my action?
Nah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. I'm right here.